Hello, my name is Kevin and I'm one of the support staff on the We See the Word project. Today I'm going to be asking some young people about their experiences of violence and how it has affected them. I will also ask them to report violence to the police and why. Violence is a very serious and everyday occurrence here in Northern Ireland, especially among young people, and policing is a very contentious issue, mainly because of our history here in Northern Ireland. I hope this video is both informative and enjoyable, and we look forward to any questions that you might have. Thank you. Right, Kieran, what are your personal experiences of violence and how has this affected you?
My personal experience with violence was in the last year when one of my friends was stabbed in the neck by a youth, an 18-year-old. It's affected me because every time I see him there's been scars and you just think about all the blood that's been over in the last year, what happened to him. It scarred him for life and it's just terrible.
Kieran, do you report violent issues to the police and why?
Oh, I don't report violence to the police because the police are not trusted in the area. They don't give support to the community, and also there's sometimes they'll come out and just try to annoy us.
Connor, what are your personal experiences of violence and how has this affected you?
I think growing up in the north of Ireland, it's pretty hard to avoid personal experiences of violence because it's pretty much a violent society we've grown up in, and we've pretty much a legacy of a conflict. Just like being out at the weekend and stuff, being parts of fights and seeing stabbings and people being battled and stuff has been occurred a few times. Also, seen a few punishment beatings that have happened regularly to young people, and just even men in general. I've seen that happen a few times. And also I've been involved in bits of violence and for personal experiences from Ardo in the Springfield and Ballygomartin, the riots there. So it had an impact on me in a way, like the way I look at things then, like what made me question my young men and stuff, even get involved in violence, and why it's so easy for young men to be attracted to violence. And I think looking back and on what I've been involved in, or even what I've seen, is why is it happening? We have to question it.
Okay, Connor, and do you report violent issues to the police and why?
I've never reported to the police. I've actually never don't really intend to report to the police because I think in our community and in West Belfast in general, we have services and approaches in place that we don't really need to use the police, and we should only use the police on the last resort, because there's no need to criminalise or even go down that path of even young people or people in general, because we don't need to put people in a cell straight away. There's other approaches, such as there can be youth groups, there can be services out there, such as there's a CRJ approach and stuff, so I don't think you need to report to the police.
Thank you. Stephen, what are your personal experiences of violence and how has this affected you?
Well, the major time that I was associated with violence was about a year and a half ago, when I was confronted by a member of the community with a small chisel. It was quite sharp, and he run me threatening that he was going to tear out my jugular, and it was quite frightening. And I tried to explain. Well, I asked him at first, "What's the matter? What are you doing?" And he accused me of peeping through the window on his house. I tried to explain that it wasn't me, and he seemed to be angry, and he tried to reach for me, and I was pulled away by a friend. So he just kept going on and saying, "What are you doing? I'm going to stab you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And fortunately he ended up calming down a bit, and he believed that it wasn't me, because I had actually seen a crowd of people had done it. So nothing really happened after.
Okay, and do you report violent issues to the police and why?
Well, I don't think that I should report violent issues, because I don't agree with the way the police deal with them. For instance, like if someone was to do a crime in the street, he mightn't get what he should do. So I don't believe that I believe that the justice isn't hard enough on the people that actually commit the crime, so I don't report them.
Seamus, what are your personal experiences of violence and how has this affected you?
Well, about 7, 8 years ago, when we were kids, me and one of my friends beat up one of the bullies that used to run about, and his daddy came down and beat me when I was only 9 or 10 years of age, and it had a big impact on me. I had nightmares and stuff all over about it.
Okay, and do you report violent issues to the police, and why?
Personally, I wouldn't report to the police because in our area the police wouldn't really work with us.
Michael, what are your personal experiences of violence, and how has this affected you?
One of my personal experiences of violence was one of my family members got attacked by two young people walking home from local clubs, so it's just made me more cautious of my surroundings.
Okay, and do you report violence to the police, and why?
Just depending on how serious the violence committed was.
Thank you. Connor, what are your personal experiences of violence, and how has this affected you?
One of the personal experiences is when me and a few of my mates were over on the Antrim Road, which is over the other side of town. We were a few of our friends working like a chip shop over there, and we were going over to meet them coming out of work. And we were standing at like a bus shelter, and there was people throwing like glass bottles at us, and we sort of said like, well, what's going on, what's that about? And they're actually Catholics, same as us. And next thing you know, they just started stabbing, and then they were on the phones, on the mobiles, getting other crowds of young people. And next thing you know, there was two grown men coming around the corner, and they were reaching down into their sack and pulled out a knife, and they were smashing the bottles and running with us with the bottles. So we all had to run, otherwise we would have been getting stabbed. And at one point my shoe came off, and I went back for my shoe, and they were just like right behind me. Excuse me, and I thought I was getting a knife in the side. How it has affected me, it's made me like really scared of knives. Like the thought of being stabbed by a knife is scary.
Okay, and do you report violent issues to the police, and why?
No, and why I think it's because it's just the way it's been growing up. Like it's just that mentality that you go to the police and you don't report things like this. Although they do have like anonymous helplines and number lines and stuff, but it's just almost in a way it's seen as touting or telling on someone. So it's just a no.
Gary, what are your personal experiences of violence, and how has this affected you?
One of your friends was stabbed in the neck with a vodka bottle. It was a drunken argument on Christmas night about 2 years ago. It's affected me that it makes me wary of knives and fighting outside bars and clubs in case I get stabbed.
Okay, and do you report violent issues to the police, and why?
Well, that incident was reported to the police, but most violent crimes in the area don't be, because the police aren't trusted in our areas, and because they haven't reacted quick enough to some incidents.